All right, welcome back to the fan forum. It's Get Me Tonight. It's Mark. Hitch is currently out trying to crowdfund a reboot for MASH. I don't know what role he thinks he's going to play. Most likely all of them. We'll see what happens. He may join us tonight. I'm not really sure. But yeah, anyways, we got tons to talk about. We've got Lions training camp, the circus that it is right now. We've got the Tigers finally winning a game, breaking down their streak. We can talk a little bit about where that season's going to go. And then, yeah, we can go into some fantasy football stuff and the Hall of Fame game preview, right? So we got a lot to talk about, even though it's just me. I think everybody's itch is starting to need a scratch right now when it comes to football. I don't think I've ever been this excited for the Hall of Fame game. It is preseason. I keep telling myself that. So I got to table myself and say, even though it has this fancy name like the Hall of Fame game, it's just still preseason. So it's going to look a little different this year. I think Dan Campbell made a mention in one of his interviews that he sees himself playing a lot of the young guys, right? Which is what we want to see. This is, a roster battle. This is something that the last couple of years I think we didn't get to see because we were still an up and coming team. We're a contender. We're the NFC champs. We're got the fifth best odds to win the Super Bowl. So we have, what I'm trying to say, is an established room of vets where I think game 1 and game 2 of the preseason, it actually may be interesting to see just somehow how Goff is this and Goff is. I had a hard time figuring out if he was a Lions fan or a Rams fan. He was dishing on Goff hard. And again, it was a novel long, so thank you for leaving that, but I still don't really get the general consensus of what you were trying to make, what point, if you're just a Goff hater. But there were a lot of comments about, hey, Hendon Hooker had a lot of high value going into the draft prior to his ACL tear. I know it was a year lookout, but he was supposed to be the unanimous first pick. Take that with a grain of salt. Gets hurt, comes to be a whole different story. Lions take him on a fly, 3rd round. And I'm thinking to myself, this might be the year to showcase him and see what he's worth. Either way, see how he looks in the field. Now, according to the training camp folks, which I trust, he looks sharp. He looks really good, which I'm happy to hear, right? That position takes some time to evolve into. Not only once they throw the reins right on you, right? But when you're brought in as an injured backup, as a rookie, the expectations for you are that we weren't even really thinking about him at first, right? Now, last year, I will say the limited sight we did see of him, he looked a little shaky, looked a little young, looked a little raw, but so did Kenny Pickett, so did half these young quarterbacks, right? So I'll be real curious to see how that battle works out with him and Kyle Allen. We did have some Kyle Allen lovers and saying, hey, listen, that's pretty much why we brought Kyle Allen in, was to push Hendon Hooker to see if he was worth his shit. If not, we trade him. But that's just something to keep an eye out for, something to think about. I don't want to put out too much speculation because I don't really know what you get from him and who would trade for him right now. Either way, a lot of positive coming from camp. Same thing with Tate Ratledge, the Motor City Mullet. A lot of great press coming out with his work ethic, with everything about him. Look forward to seeing him fit right in. I look forward to seeing him. Seems like he's winning the starting position. You're going to see him. You're going to see Tyleik Williams, someone I'm real excited to see. Don't know how much you'll see of Aiden Hutchinson, but let me tell you, I watched some video of him practicing some of his moves, and he looks 10 times better than he did when he played healthy. He looks like a rebuilt machine. A mission, too. I mean, you guys have to remember, this isn't just someone who plays football. Aiden Hutchinson is a very passionate football player and leader. So he's got a lot to prove to himself and to the community. I think he wants to thank the community for rebounding with him and sticking with him. And it's going to be, I think, a great reunion tour for him. Right. Last year he came out as the sack leader still when he was hurt for, I think, 2 weeks and was on pace to win Defensive Player of the Year. The ceiling is so high for him. We could do 45 minutes of myself and Hitch just talking about what Aiden Hutchinson can do. So that video of him doing that move was just out of this world. So I encourage everybody to go take a look at it. Maybe I'll throw it in the video. But it's probably the one thing that got me excited to say I'm ready for the Hall of Fame game, right? Just because I saw him out of there on the field. Not to mention the whole secondary. They're coming back healthy. They're super young. You've got a well more feared and respected secondary. I think Kirby Joseph last year got his accolades. So that whole secondary, I think, is going to put the league on notice. Didn't see too much about the middle linebackers. I saw Anzalone was at practice, and he looks to be, honestly, he looks to be in better shape than he's ever been. So I really hope they can work those contract negotiations out. But again, when you trust your general manager and you trust your head coach, and the organization has had a track record in the last couple of years of doing all the right things, I'm not going to get too caught up in that. He's there, he's practicing. I feel like with them, it's all about timing. And when the timing's right, they'll pull the trigger on that. But either way. Now, speaking of timing, I think now more so than ever would be a great time for us to get Zadarius Smith. I think I'm week in and week out over saying this. I'm sure it doesn't fall on deaf ears, but that just seems to be the seal the deal kind of, okay, we're ready to go on to the next part of the season by picking up Mr. Smith. But again, you trust your general manager, you trust your coach, you trust that those things are going to happen. So Brad, Dan, we put our trust into you. So don't screw it up. But yeah, let's go back to camp. There's still a lot more at camp that I want to talk about. Now Tim Patrick is back. He is one of Hitch's favorite players, and somebody that the Podfather accurately called that we were going to go out and get. Sorry. So I always want to highlight that with Hitch. That's a jersey you should probably buy, dude. Tim Patrick seems to be your dude. But here they're saying he's still adjusting to camp, but Tim Patrick is a veteran, right? I was going to say his job's pretty easy right now. It's not going to be too hard with this core of wide receivers that he has, right? He's going to be playing against the probably number 4 cornerback every time, which for a guy of his size and a guy of his speed, as long as he stays healthy, I feel like he's going to do all those lovely Tim Patrick things that we love, catching those balls up the middle, kind of making the play on the field when you forgot he was even on the field. Your eyes are on Gibbs, your eyes are on J-Mo, your eyes are on St. Brown, and here comes Tim Patrick, the ball zips, and he's got your first down. So, Tim, we believe in you. I'm not too worried about you. I really just want you to stay healthy. That's the biggest key piece right now. Excuse me. So, not to get back to the J-Mo situation, because I feel like I'm hyping him up big time, but, they're saying the guy's he's ran the best route they've ever seen him run. He's using his speed now, not only obviously to blow guys by, but he's faking out his speed, right? He's slowing them down and getting real shifty with them. So really hope we see a little bit of J-Mo maybe in game 1 in the Hall of Fame game, and they just let him out, right? I just get me excited. Just dangle that J-Mo in front of me, please. Brian Branch, who honestly may be my all-time favorite draft pick of Brad Holmes, and that's even over Amon-Ra St. Brown. I was so high on him coming out of college, and I'm like, finally, we draft a guy that I want. They're right, and he was the standout defender again, right? He's winning every single one of his matchups. They said the only time that he was beaten was when Jared Goff laid a had-to-be perfect ball to St. Brown at the back of the end zone. So Pro Bowl on Pro Bowl on Pro Bowl on Pro Bowl. So it seems to me that Brian Branch is going to contest with Kirby Joseph for that interception record this year. I just, again, stay healthy, Brian. Stay healthy, Kirby. You guys are going to do some great things, right? Okay, we can't ignore special teams. I know Hitch is in here, and this is his thing. I think this is going to be where you're going to see a lot of position battles and where a lot of the camp cuts are going to be made. And this is always a a unit where you love to see guys shine, right? Because when they're special team stars, they're doing special things. So what I'm reading is special teams drills get mixed in between team drills to give them some breaks. So it wasn't like a main focal point, but a lot of the standouts are Stewart, Cunningham, Maddox, Pittman, Mr. Shane Zylstra, Reynolds, Strickland, and Maurice Norris. Now, we talked about this big free agency. I wasn't calling big, but the Rocky Sin signing, he's showing up big in free agency. And I think Hitch may have mentioned that that's probably where his role is going to be bigger at in special teams. But Rocky Sin seems to be doing kind of what we talked about, shining in that special need, that special role. So Real excited to see that, guys. This is obviously with us staying healthy. I keep saying that over and over. Someone's going to call me out on that, and I know who it'll be. But would like to see probably a little bit more battling from the linebackers. So I think in this first game, I'm going to really see how those linebackers are looking. Good news is Marcus Davenport is looking good. He's looking healthy. That seems to be Brad Holmes' guy that he wants to just really make work here. So I want to see Brad get his wish. He's given me so many lovely players. But Grant Stewart, he continues to impress quite a bit right now. And these articles I'm reading on the defense. So I believe he is one of our, got a hell of a head of hair. Probably going to be more of your special teams guy again on defense with Rock Sin. I'm not reading too much about our other linebackers. It seems to be very quiet. So, that's one position that I really want to see Jack Campbell take the leadership role in. And reading good things about him, but you're just not seeing a lot. Maybe that's because John Gruden's at camp. That's right, John Gruden here in Detroit. Old Chucky Charles, the man himself, the Grudenator, whatever name you want to give him a shit or a call. He's here, looking real old too, by the way, real speckly. But no secret, he's a fan of MCDC. He is accredited for teaching John Morton, I guess, everything he knows about coaching. So back in their days when they were coaches at the Raiders. So it was nice to see him there. I know it can be a little controversial with some stuff that he got into when he was at Oakland. Either way, he's a well-respected brain. So he shows up. They ask him about Jared Goff. And, who does he remind you of? And he's like, well, the numbers and the movement in the pocket, da-da-da-da-da. He says Joe Montana. Not Montana, Montana. So, for the gentleman on our YouTube comment that just wanted to destroy Goff, now they're comparing him to Joe Montana, which I don't think that's unfair, right? I guess I just don't get why so many people want to see Goff fail. Now, do we continue with the Jared Goff chance this year? I'm not sure. But seriously, those comments on YouTube really bothered me. Maybe I need a lengthy article of Gruden saying that, he plays, he looks, he acts like Joe Montana. Shove it right down that guy's throat. But either way, I thought it was very complimentary. It seems to be the cool place to be is Detroit right now when it comes to football. It doesn't surprise me, though, guys, because I really think one of the big stories this year is going to be Isaac Tesla. He looks to be like an absolute stud right now. Hitch and I went into a little bit about how he looked in non-contact, no pads. It was, I think it was just a rookie training camp. Hitch said, yeah, granted, he's going up against a no-name this or a no-name that, but no, I'm seeing him now going up against day one QB or cornerback 2, cornerback 3, whatever. These are good corners, right? He's burning by him, man. So he's kind of got that St. Brown vibe where he's fighting for balls. He's catching balls in those, how the hell did you catch that fashion, and holding on to him. He just seems to be so freaking strong. So I just think he's going to be a scary little weapon this year that everyone's already kind of fallen in love with, but the rest of the NFL is going to start noticing. Similar to St. Brown, late round draft pick, wide receiver. Everybody slept on me. I'm fast. I'm hard. I work hard. I work out. I'm strong. I'm smart. This, that, the other. 14 and 18. It's got to be a nice combination. So really interesting as I've been talking about all these wide receivers. Starting to make me think, again, when we're healthy, our wide receiver room is looking really young and really good. We've got, then you can add in our tight ends, right? So I still consider that just a big-ass wide receiver. Then you've got Sam Laporta, too, which I feel like myself and Hitch and we haven't really talked a lot about Laporta. He obviously didn't have a huge year last year as far as putting up the big numbers, but we know what he's capable of. And I feel like Mr. Morton is more than capable enough at working him into this offense this year. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm really looking forward to Mr. Laporta probably putting up his, 600, 700 yards in receiving. I think that would be a nice number. Some double-digit touchdowns for a tight end would be phenomenal. So now back more onto the defensive side of things. We got a lot of new guys too, like Roy Lopez, that I think I'll be looking out for. Another one of those Brad Holmes signings, that 1 year, $2 million. But I feel like he's going to be a nice story, a nice contributor. I feel like he the vibe that he gives off, the way that he plays football. I really feel like Mr. Lopez is going to do well here. Speaking of doing well, finally, not to change it up too much, but we do have the Tigers. So, like everybody before the All-Star break, we were feeling that 1984 Bless You Boys vibe with the Tigers. There's no doubt, right? You better wake up, man. There's no time to mess around with the Blue Jays. Wayne, you got a really good baseball team, man, and you know it. But, well, we shit the bed on the Blue Jays. Looking like we're about to get swept again. And they pull off a win, right? It was nice. It wasn't the prettiest to win. I think I read somewhere that someone so eloquently put it, the Blue Jays handed them their first win, right? They kind of let that game go. But let's talk about these Tigers, guys, right? Because I'm confident in the roster. We already kind of went over how young, how good this is, how good that is. But we have some glaring needs to go farther with this young team, right? We can't ride this youth all the way to the end without making for a trade or two. Now, the free agency market, or I'm sorry, free agency, we'll call it deadline acquisition market, isn't the most attractive. It really isn't. It in years past, there's been some names that are fun to watch. Even if we don't sign them, fun to see where they go. But this year, it's really, it's nothing big, man. It's, Eugenio Suárez from the Diamondbacks, who we already had here before. He's like a 210 average hitter. He's hitting a lot of home runs right now, but I don't know. I just really don't want to get caught up in that. I want to see us more get some arms, right? What we're seeing in these series of us just getting blown out is the pitching. So it says right here, so they go out and get a starting arm, and thinking to yourself, well, they put Reese Olson on the 60-day injured list, and he's going to be out for the season with a shoulder strain. So it kind of makes sense now on why he was giving up all those home runs, but it sucks, right? I don't know. There's so many rumors right now about Tigers pushing for Nolan Ariando, and to me, guys, I don't feel like whatever we're going to do, we're going to make we're not going to, how about this? We're not going to make the noise that the fans want to make the noise like a Prince Fielder, or it's going to have to be one of those things you just got to be patient with. I feel like Scott Harris is going to pick up some arms. I don't feel like you're going to see any big bats come through. I feel like they have the confident right now and all the guys in the lineup, Jenga, that AJ Hinch plays around with, but this is one of those times if you're a new baseball fan, you just kind of have to sit, watch, and wait until we get closer to the end. One of the rougher parts about baseball is it's such a long season, and that first half seems to go by so quick because it's cold, there's not a lot going on, man, but then summertime comes around and we got football starting up, and there's just a lot of other shit going on right now, so baseball's going to get a little quiet, I think, until, let's see, what is it? Like, we're at the end of July right now, so you got August. I mean, postseason's obviously October, so, I mean, probably the beginning of September, right? That's when you'll be able to really look at this Tigers team. I mean, we're still in a really good position, right? You'll look at this Tigers team and fully know what you're walking into the postseason with. So, still plenty of time for guys to be brought up. I mean, we still have that nasty little farm system. I don't fancy myself worried about the Tigers right now. Kerry Carpenter, he's back. No secret how amazing and effective he can be. I don't want to give any of our prospects away. They're just really, I'm sorry, Eugenio Suárez just really doesn't say sell the farm to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. You tell me, you let me know. I don't know. We'll see. But it just strikes me as odd that's what we would do, right? I really wish Hitch was here right now because I got so many new sound drops that I just opened up and they're all awesome and I can't wait to play them. But if it's just me sitting here, it's kind of weird. So we're going to wait for the Podfather to show back up. I do want to mention that we have the Hall of Fame. I know I talked a little bit about it coming up this Thursday. You guys are going to be listening to this. This comes out on a Tuesday. So if you're listening to any day close to the release day, we will be going live before the Hall of Fame game, which I believe is at 7. There's going to be so much NFL fanfare for that game, though. Yeah, the game starts at 8. So, yeah, Hitch and I would probably be getting on closer to 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock. And I don't know, probably stay on for a little bit of it and get instant reaction because that's going to be where them position battles I was talking about earlier, I think that's where you're going to see those at. It's in Canton, too. This is going to be interesting to see how blue that stadium gets, right? Because I don't know how well the Los Angeles Charger fans travel, but I know our Detroit Lions fans travel really well. So that's another thing I wanted to bring up. If you guys are fans and you're listening right now during the season, if you're at games, whether they're home or whether they're away, take pictures, put them up on the Facebook fan forum page. If you don't have access to that, you can send them to me, you can send them to Hitch, get them to us on our Instagram, get them to us some way. But man, we want to put the pictures up of you guys at the games. Same thing with videos, and especially if you're at a road game. Now I know I know there's a nickname for these guys, Hitch and Bob. Well, I know Bob and his buddies go to one home game every year. I think they're going to Cincy, but that's where we need to get like all the crazy moments. As long as your clothes are on, Bob, would prefer that. But let's keep it fun. Let's keep it somewhat PG and family friendly. But you really need to please overload us with all that because it's going to be a fun season. We got a really tough schedule. And a lot of these away games are, I think, going to be in some pretty rowdy environments. We got primetime games. It's going to be something I want to grab. And I know last year there was somebody on the fan forum that their sign that they made got, put up on the big Jumbotron too. And I told her we'd use it on the podcast and we didn't. So my bad. But seriously, send us all the stuff that you guys have because Hitch and I want to, share your experience too. I don't know if I'll be going to any games. I'm assuming Hitch will at least go to one. I'm hoping we go to one game this year, but they're so damn expensive. So if anybody wants to start a GoFundMe for Hitch and I to go to a game together, I think that would be awesome. All right, so back to the Hall of Fame game. As someone said, welcome to July football. Never thought I'd hear that. It is interesting that we're picked for this because this game is identified as two teams that can be considered legitimate contenders to reach the Super Bowl next February. That's how they pick these teams. So that's pretty cool to be considered that. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm still having a hard time with understanding that we are, I think, like I said, the fifth best odds to reach or win the Super Bowl, right? So it's going to be interesting, right? Obviously, we know that the Chargers and the Lions have a Pro Bowl roster. The Chargers, I don't need to go through their whole entire roster, but dangerous young quarterback, well-respected head coach. They got a Bosa. I mean, the list goes on, right? Khalil Mack gets that and the other. So it should be pretty interesting. I guess they're introducing Antonio Gates into the Hall of Fame, which I did not know. That is freaking awesome. I loved Antonio Gates. I actually loved playing with the Chargers in Madden for Antonio Gates. I guess I could have just traded him and put him on another team, but I don't know. I always liked the Chargers for some reason. So it'll be a good time. I think, especially if you join us for the YouTube live before. I think you'll even be a better time. We've had a lot of fun on the lives. We did one last week where Hitch's brother came on and a couple of our friends, and there were some random accounts too that I had no clue, which was awesome, that had lots of stuff to say. Oh, please, seriously, right before the game, we're going to hop on, I don't know, 6:30, 7 o'clock for sure. Even if you can't watch or contribute the whole time, just have it going in your pocket. It'd be really cool to try all this out because we're going to be doing this for every game, right? Getting on before, an hour before, doing pregame stuff, getting everybody fired up, getting ourselves fired up, making predictions, probably doing some last minute betting stuff too. Hitch is more of a degenerate gambler than I am, so I'll let him take that reign on that one. But I guess for the first time ever, I'm excited about a preseason game. That attitude will change after this game though, and then I'll be ready for the season to start. So with that being said, we have the fantasy football team or fantasy football draft that I don't want to overlook. We mentioned it on the live. I've mentioned it on the Facebook page. We need to acquire, I believe we're going to do 12 teams. We're going to have a first place prize, and Hitch came up with the genius idea of a second place prize. So first place would be a jersey of your choice, Lions jersey, of course, which you will get as soon as we get it. Not 2 to 3 years later. And then you will get a second place can pick something out from our fan forum, our merch page on the fourth wall, which puts something right here for it. So you get to the website, buy the stuff. We're going to be putting out some new gear when the season starts. I've got some new Hitch for the new Hitch, the fall Hitch line. It'll have a mixture of his Grateful Dead / Lions fans, which continues to be his vibe. And I think I got a couple shirts that I'm working on with some of his sayings on there. So let me know what you think about it. Let me know what you think about colors, and if you want something that has Hitch's face on it, or a certain saying, let me know. I can make custom orders too. But go check the Fourth Wall out. It's Detroit Lions or Detroit Fan Forum on the Fourth Wall. All right, so back to the fantasy football. Make sure, if you're interested, reach out to us. We're going to be reaching out to you if you don't reach out to us. We need to secure, like I said, 12, at least 12 teams. It'll be online draft. It'll be free. That's what I probably should have led off with. It's free, so who cares? Have your grandma sign up for a team. Just make sure she makes some roster moves, right? I know we're going to try and get some of our kids and buddies into it, and it's really just to get a little trash talking on here. I mean, each week I'm going to pull it up on here, show you who's winning, who's losing. The last time we did this, Hitch drafted a team and texted me right after and was like, I feel bad for everybody. My team is so good, and I will win. And if I win, I'm going to have to make the second place person the winner because it'll be unfair. I think he lost like 8 games in a row. His roster looked real good until 40% of his team got hurt, right? So should be interesting year to see what the old wise one pulls out. We also talked about doing a RuPaul, how am I going to mess this up? RuPaul Drag Race fantasy draft. John, you're going to have to come on here and explain this whole thing to me, but Hitch's brother John will be joining us for an episode. If I can get him on, I will get him on. He is not only a talented human at what he does, right, when it comes to his life, but fashion and music and all that stuff, but he has a knack for the 6 Degrees to Kevin Bacon, right? So he was on the live. We've done it a few times where we've tested him and called him out on it. And every single time I don't know, under a minute can link somebody or anybody you ask him to Kevin Bacon. So we want to do it live with him, and I think that's going to be a really fun episode. Got a lot of questions about Hitch growing up, and if you didn't see the live, they mentioned that they grew up in a haunted house for a little bit. Hitch did tell a story. So we're going to explain some more of the haunted house stories, which I was lucky enough to be a part of a few, but there's still so many questions that I have for him. And I've heard these stories a few times, but it's probably been over 20 years since I've heard all of them together. And there always tends to be there's the Hitch story, the John story, and it's usually John's is a little bit closer to the truth, but anyways, I think that's just going to be such a fun episode. Have him on. He's a really fun guy. And then same thing with anybody else, man. If you guys want to come on and talk sports, we've got Hermdo. He's releasing some hockey video recaps he's doing for us. So there's some out there right now where he recaps the 2025 free agency for the Red Wings. I don't proclaim to know everything about hockey, but he knows a ton. So we got him now kind of like as our hockey guru, and he'll be posting videos. He did one too for the preview of the season, goes over the schedule, how he thinks things are going to be played out. They're just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-minute videos. Go check them out on the YouTube page, and go check out his page, Hermdo, on YouTube. It's funny. He does comedy, does conspiracy stuff. There's beer reviews. He does it all, really. And but he also happens to be very knowledgeable when it comes to sports. So he's joined us on episodes. He's been on lives. We'll have him back on. But it's going to be a really fun football season, guys. Like, I think this is going to be the most excited I am for the city of Detroit. But not only that, I'm excited for the fan base because I feel like we're now getting national respect that we deserve. So nothing beats that when you're actually getting the respect, right? For the last couple of years, it was nice getting the local respect, right? Local radio changed their tone. All the stores start selling the gear. Everyone's buying into it. Everyone's super excited about it. Everyone's going to games. But now it is a whole national brand, right? We've seen the Lions with their social media. They're getting younger, the way that they're branding with the memes and the videos, that I can't keep up with the stuff that they're posting. Their gear's getting really cool. I've mentioned that before. Dude, I love seeing the all blacked out face mask with Jack Campbell standing there like a fucking trooper on the field. So I think it's just going to be a really page-turning season nationally for the Lions. And God damn it, Dan Campbell better win Coach of the Year. Anyways, all right, I've taken up enough of your time. I greatly appreciate you listening to me for the last, I don't know, 20, 30, 40, whatever the hell it's been. But please make sure that you like and subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, on YouTube. I think we're going to be branching out to other platforms, but help us build this thing naturally. We're not launching any ad money into this. We're not boosting and paying for all this bullshit. So it's just a bunch of dudes who like to talk about sports. And like I said, we welcome all you guys to join us, to help us out, to comment, to give feedback, to show everybody, to tell us what you like, what you don't like. Really appreciate it. And again, make sure you join us on Thursday live at 7 for the Hall of Fame game. And one pride.